Hey guys, good morning. So it's Tuesday, October 2nd, and a few things I wanted to share with y'all, and even now, like I said, as the stories just keep going. First of all, I want to give a shout out to my kids, because it seems like whenever I'm down, whenever I'm just beat mentally, they just know the right thing, so I'm going to probably tear up right now. Yesterday, I was talking to my son, and it was so cute. He just said he was outside, and he's little Mr. Mayor, so he's asking if he can give out some of my shirts. And he said, I just said, baby, I miss you so much. I hope you're proud of what I'm doing. And he said, Daddy, so I'm always proud of you no matter what you do. So it was pretty cool to hear my son say that. I'm sure all the kids are. Thanks, bud. So anyway, so a few things I want to talk about. As I mentioned yesterday, I'm going to start walking through the night. Today's the first day. I'm going to test that theory, because it's hard to sleep out in the desert with noises and sounds, and I can't mentally get where I need to be to get any rest. I don't need a lot of rest, but I need a little bit. So today, during the day, I'm going to walk as far as I can. I'm going to be crossing the New Mexico border into Arizona probably later this afternoon. I'm going to guess between the 2 to 4 range if I walk the way I want to. I know there's a rest area up ahead, so there's some place for me to stop, which is very cool in that regard. So there's a couple other things I want to talk about before I introduce you to a new journey friend of mine. So the car just turned on its headlights, so that's why you see the brightness behind me. Anyway, I stopped to load up with water, and here's one of those lessons that's sort of educational that I'll never forget now. Prior to this journey, I couldn't tell you how much a gallon of water weighed, but to those of you that are trying to, figure out, how it is, what I'm carrying, what I'm pulling. I'm heading out through the desert, so I got to go with at least 2 gallons of water. There have been days where I've had 4, but if you guys don't know, a gallon of water weighs 8.4 pounds. So carrying or pulling 2 gallons of water by itself is 16 pounds. So now you know. The other day, when I didn't even compute that, when I bought the case of water to try to drag out a 2 can carry, I was dragging about another 40 pounds. No, it was about another 40 or so pounds behind me. So there's some craziness with that. So 2 gallons of water, it's only 16 pounds more, but that's a little lesson for you guys. So a gallon of water is about 8.4 pounds. Good morning, sir. And so forth. So I just stopped here at the travel stop to get some water to head out. The other thing I wanted to mention before I introduce my buddy over here is early in the journey, I've been kind of outspoken about, I like to, the name of the journey is Point to Thumb Journey. It means pointing the thumb at yourself and taking accountability, owning your responsibility, owning if you're wrong, and that's what I'm doing here. We were talking about people kneeling for the national anthem, and one of my beefs was, I never see anything positive come out of it in terms of sitting down and having a say-so, whatnot, some kind of get-together, some town hall meeting with leaders of the community. And I just read something that was both, to me, good at promising and disappointing at the same time. So I read this morning, again, my only news source really is Yahoo News on the phone here, but I read that the National Football League, because of Kaepernick's protest, so again, I'm talking about a positive now, set aside something along the lines of $69 million or $89 million to do, social awareness and getting folks together. I think that's an amazingly positive thing. I didn't know about that. Also, I think it was a few weeks ago that Colin Kaepernick and another gentleman who's kneeling and just got re-signed in the NFL was doing something like backpacks for girls and giving some things away. So there are things that people are doing of a positive that I was unaware of, and I don't want to just kind of throw darts at people without owning some positive stuff. So I wanted to kind of highlight that. The disappointing part, I thought, though, was this other gentleman who just got signed, was a defensive back that played for the 49ers. His name's Eric Reed, and he joined Kaepernick in protesting by kneeling for the anthem, and he went back and signed with Carolina recently, and this time he didn't take a knee. I think part of his deal to get re-signed was he wouldn't take a knee, but he did make, if I understand correctly, a gesture kind of where he pointed up in the sky, and that was his way of just, letting folks know he was doing his thing. But one of the things I think somebody asked him was, he was on this panel with the NFL about disparity, diversity, some kind of whatever the $69 million panel was, and they asked him why he got away from it, and he said, it's a diversion or a subversion, a subversive group. I might not be using the right terminology, You'll have to look at the app. Essentially, he thought there was an agenda that they were having to kind of save face, that they weren't really genuinely. Hey folks, how you doing? They weren't really genuinely doing this, and I got to share what just happened just a second ago. I'm talking about this very topic. So, you know, that's kind of disappointing. Is that the NFL, at least by appearances, and maybe it is just appearances, has set aside this money to do positive, and apparently, and that's a very good thing. But this gentleman feels that it's not so positive, and wants to, you know, show his change in his way, which I respect. I just wish it wasn't seemed to be as subversion. I'm gonna move this because headlights are gonna blast me. I gotta share this with you. It just happened literally 10 seconds ago. You saw me say hello to a family. I'm sitting outside the travel stop, and this just makes me not laugh. I don't want to say laugh, but you know, everybody seems to want to be sensitive to something these days. For years, there's been a big to-do about the Washington Redskins NFL team. Their logo is an American Indian mascot, and how offensive it is to people. And there's groups that are protesting that. What's that, bud? Oh, go get your coffee. I'll be here for a few minutes. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. All right, I'll be right here. All right, no, I'm good. You go take care of yourself. So anyway, guys, this, you know, there's been this thing, and again, there's this political correctness taking over our world, and the owner of the Redskins, you know, he feels kind of it's like a tribute, not any kind of inflammatory or slanderous kind of representation. And I'm sitting here in the border of New Mexico, and I'm in, you know, a large, I've walked through many reservations now and territory of the American Indian. Well, a family just came walking before me, an American Indian family, and guess what? The gentleman, the father, is wearing a Washington Redskin cap. So clearly he's not offended by it. I haven't talked to a lot of American Indians about that very topic, but I just wonder sometimes in our society how we've got people fighting agendas just for the sake of fighting. You know, I know I'm all over the place today with my video, but you know, that just happened. And then I started to ask myself, this is how my mind works. You know, I know there's been people, you know, trying to change and get them to change the logo. I wonder how many of those are truly American Indian, and how many people that are just, you know, people that want to fight for a cause. You know, it's puzzling to me sometimes, trying to figure our society out. As an example, I'm going to be selfish for a minute and talk about myself. I left this journey and tried to get along the way. There's two charities that I'm big on, Disabled American Veterans and the St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And it's on my website, pttjourney.com, and I have a GoFundMe page. And I was hoping if we all just donated $5 for like 5 weeks, you know, and got one other person a week, that I showed that we could have raised $300,000, and all of us, everyday regular people, could have been part of something huge. And quite honestly, that fell flat on its face. And then I read in the same Yahoo News that this professor with 2 homes and a degree and a whole bit, you know, not justifying whether she was or was not sexually assaulted as a teenager, but because she's going against what I deem to be certainly a political aspect of it, that it's she got $700,000 in GoFundMe donations to support her and go testify in front of the Senate to prohibit Kavanaugh from being a Supreme Court judge. Now, I'm not justifying one way or the other. I'm just making a statement that she got. Thank you, buddy. No, I don't need coffee. Thank you, though. Thank you. No, I got a little drink right here. I'm good. Thank you. No, we're good. I'll be with you 1 second. So anyway, so like I said, here it is. You know, me being kind of my again, I call it my Opie for Mayberry outlook. I'm like, hey, you know, a bunch of regular folks can raise money for a couple of really good, really worthy charities, and then that fell flat on its face despite some pleas on my part. And then you know, I read that inside of just a couple of days or hours even, you know, this young lady has $700,000 to GoFundMe page, essentially to stand before Congress and tell her story, which is a worthy story, don't get me wrong. I just don't know why she needs $700,000 to do that. So that's kind of the you know, this is where my mind is working. I've got to, you know, I hear about all these causes to ban the Washington Redskins slogan, and I'm sure that offends some people. I'm sure it does. I'm not saying it doesn't. And then yet here I'm sitting in New Mexico and an American Indian gentleman walks by wearing that very same cap. So maybe there are people that look at it as an honor and tribute. I don't know. I didn't talk to him. It just struck me as odd when back east all I've heard about is these people, with an agenda to ban it. So anyway, just observations, not necessarily trying to preach to anybody. But then I wanted to introduce you to this gentleman over here. So I came to the mini mart and to get my water, my 2 gallons of water, which is, if you've been listening, 16 pounds worth of water to take on my day. The sun's starting to come up. You can see kind of behind me. I think I just gave a plug to Loves. But one of the things I found in this journey at these travel stops is there's a lot of people like me out here, not necessarily doing what I'm doing, but I found a lot of, yesterday in this very same spot, I ran into Frida, an American Indian woman that kind of got stranded here, she said, trying to find a way. And then I met this gentleman and I want to tell his story a little bit. So, sir, I only have about 4 minutes. What's your name, bud?
First name Robert, last name Queller.
Okay, well this is Robert, who was sitting out here and just kind of saw me walking by and asked me what I'm doing. And we started talking. So Rob, just share a little bit about what you're doing here, what your purpose is, or what you need to do, and the predicament you're in.
Well, I'm here in Gallup,
yep,
Arizona.
New Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yes, sir.
Arizona border.
Yes, sir.
That's correct.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So I'm heading east to replace my documents.
Okay. What?
Unfortunately, which were how would you say?
Lost, misplaced, whatever.
Reappropriated.
Okay. Okay. Because you said you got jacked up down in Phoenix a little bit.
No. They I'm wear and tear from the road.
Okay.
Lack of food, lack of rest, lack of shelter. That's commonly known as exposure.
Okay. And you're heading to where now? You're heading out to. You said to go to New Jersey. You got to go.
No, I gotta steal because the guy in Econo.
Okay.
He threw me a 20.
Okay.
So I threw that right into the Amtrak rail system.
So you're going to take Amtrak across the country a little bit?
No. I'm just taking the 20 only gets you to Albuquerque.
Oh, to Albuquerque, okay. And then, but your end goal, you told me, was New Jersey, because you've lost your documents,
to become redocumented.
Because somehow you lost your documents, and now you can't even get employment because you have nothing.
They were reappropriated.
Well, I appreciate the semantics, but what in layman's terms, what does reappropriated mean? Someone took them, or?
I had a jacket. I had them in my jacket.
Okay.
And the guy probably drunk.
Okay.
Or worse, some other type of.
Anyway, he took your jacket or whatever. Yeah, he was on something. So
it would be either a narcotic or an amphetamine.
Okay. So
I'm sure.
Okay.
From his appearance.
Okay.
But Officer Ortiz did not solve the case.
Okay. So you lost your documents, and the only way you can become proof that you're a citizen of our country is to go back to where the documents were created, which is in New Jersey. You were telling me, right?
Well, I can prove to the police by giving my social security number.
Okay. But as far as getting a job, you need to be able to hand them something for an I-9.
Yeah, but the tourism, I used to work in tourism, so I was working, helping the tourists in a legal way. Okay. Many times the tourists try to take part in illegal activities.
Okay.
And it's, we here in the United States are taught to always stay away from illegal activities.
I got you.
But you can make a living helping tourists through legal activity.
Okay. Well, I'm running out of time, so I'm going to cut you short here.
No. I want to do one more thing. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight?
Let's gleam in. No, you take a.
And the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night
that our flag was still there. We're running out. We got 20 seconds. Hurry.
Oh, say does that star-spangled
banner yet wave
o'er the land of the free
and the home of the. Hurry.
Brave.
Guys, love you. Thank you.